What is up, guys? So welcome to another Kerbal Space Program video, and today we're going to be building a continuation of the X-Wing from like a couple posts ago that I've made. And basically, if you would have guessed from the title of the video, we are building the TIE Fighter from Star Wars, which is another space vehicle from the series. And unlike the X-Wing from the past few videos, this TIE fighter is way better. Like, I can confidently say that this is a pretty accurate TIE fighter. And one cool thing about this one TIE fighter, this specific one, the one that I made, this can vertically take off and land. So this is also a VTOL, which is something a little different. I haven't really seen any TIE fighters that can take off like mine on YouTube yet, on KSP, maybe. Okay, if there is a guy that actually made a TIE fighter that can take off vertically, please send me the link. I kind of want to see how they did it. But my my way into doing this was I used the exact same process as my VTOL video. I used the third engines, and I basically had three on each side, and I had to like fine tune the right amount of throttle. Once again, because if one side is too strong, it will start to flip. But basically, once I got that settled down, this thing took off beautifully. It took off like the actual Star Wars TIE fighter you would see in the movie, which is pretty cool. But like there were still issues about this TIE fighter though. So I've noticed that like this thing really can't fly that well in the atmosphere. I'm probably gonna have to do some design changes. Maybe I'm gonna have to like redesign the whole thing and just say that it's like based on the TIE fighter or something. Cause like, okay, it works really well in space. I will show that later on in the video of me actually testing this thing in space because it works really well. It's way better in space than in the atmosphere. Cause this thing just likes to tumble. The design of the TIE fighter is not really the best for atmospheric conditions. Like, it is as aerodynamic as a brick. It likes to flip over if there's too much thrust from the rear, which is like, I mean, you gotta have thrust somewhere, and I can't put it in the front because that would look weird. The TIE fighter has to have the weird front windshield. But basically, this thing just does not like flying in the atmosphere, which is an issue. So I might need to make a video later on of me like redesigning the TIE fighter to fit like space and atmospheric conditions. Oh yeah, and speaking of space, so basically this TIE fighter has no ability to go into orbit by itself. This is not a single stage to orbit vehicle. I needed to create a launch platform for it. I need to make like a specific booster that can just launch this thing. And actually, this is the first time that I've used what do you call those, fairings or something? The dome. It will cover the TIE fighter and it makes it into a giant pine cone. Well, I'm just gonna show you guys. But basically, I had to use this to get into orbit. But like once it was in orbit, this thing flew amazingly. Like it was really controllable in space, which is not the case in the atmosphere. I wish it was, but that's for like a later video. I'm gonna need to make another one like continuing this build because I'm pretty sure I can make this plane stable in the atmosphere as well. Well, it's not even a plane, this spaceship. So I'm gonna show you guys me just testing this thing around space. And also, if you look in the rear where the engines are, I actually put some lights there, and they cycle in like a spiral, in a spiral pattern, just to like do a little bit of the sci-fi effect, like if you see in the movies, like a lot of engines, they have like weird pulsing thingies going on behind them, and like with the TIE fighters, they kind of show that a little bit. So I wanted to like replicate that, so I used some of the illuminators from the electrical section, and I basically turned those on and set their blinks at different intervals, and if you look at it, it spins, which is pretty cool. Wait, actually, it might be the communication section. Maybe. I'm not really sure if it's an electrical, but yeah, I got them somewhere and they're pretty cool. And now I'm basically taking this thing out of orbit. So this is actually the first time that I have left Kerbin orbit, which is kind of shocking. Like I built like most of my stuff that I've built on this channel are like spacefaring vehicles, but I've never left Kerbin orbit. And this TIE fighter is actually the first one that I've taken this far out of the atmosphere. And yeah, it was kind of cool. I was a little confused. I didn't know what any of the circles mean, but but I actually got fairly close to going to the moon, like the closest celestial body to Kerbin, and I almost reached there. But unfortunately, I wasn't close enough. I just didn't really know what I was doing. Like, I was trying to like, I was just clicking all. I was just like figuring out what I could do. So I was just clicking like the trajectory, and like I saw that you could set maneuvers and all that stuff. But I really didn't know like how the maneuvers works. I would just time lapse, and like like the spacecraft would go past the maneuvering point, and I would just get confused. Like, why is it not maneuvering? But then I later figure out that you have to like toggle SAS to maneuvering mode or something like that. But yeah, this is a pretty big like learning session for me. Like, I had no idea what I'm doing at all. I'm just happy that I got pretty close to the moon, which is a pretty big accomplishment in itself. Which means that in the next couple of videos, we might need to try landing on the moon. But like I feel like I should have been trying to land on the moon a little bit earlier. But I think I'm going at the right pace right now. I'm learning how to build crafts. I'm learning how to build very cool crafts, which is important. So yeah, I'm just gonna take it at my own pace. And yeah, so soon I might need to plan a moon mission. I'm thinking of like building a full-on colony on the moon. Maybe I'm gonna make like some type of space aircraft carrier, and I'm gonna like drag like 5 X-wings to the moon with me. Like think of like a space pickup truck, and I'm just gonna have a ton of X-wings just following me to the moon, and I'll build like a mini camp on there. So yeah, I would say that this was a pretty big learning experience for me. I learned how to send something way out into orbit, and now I just need to figure out how to do like the right trajectories and all that stuff so that I can finally land on the moon. And which is a pretty big deal. I feel like landing on the moon in Kerbal Space Program is like one of the most like it's probably one of the biggest achievements, because like that's your like first step into interplanetary like conquest. Well, I wouldn't say conquest, I would say exploration, but for me it's gonna be conquest. I'm gonna build that space pickup truck, and I'm gonna carry like a ton of X-wings and a ton of TIE fighters, and I'm gonna build me a little base on the moon. I'm gonna claim the moon for Kerbin. Yep. So this will end this video, and I will see you guys on the next one.